morning, Ken. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Carolyn. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So far, so good. It's Monday morning, bright
Yeah,
and
Monday
early.
morning. Coffee with Kellyco. Actually, my coffee's out. I need to go get some more, but I'll wait till after this.
Okay. Well, I got us up here live on Facebook. I'm just waiting for a couple of people to jump on here. But in the meantime, did you have a great weekend, Ken?
Yeah, I did. I did. Kind of did some stuff around the house and did some research for some future detecting sites and, kind of hung around the house. I didn't really get out. I know some of my buddies were out and doing some great detecting, invited me to go along, but I just had some things to get done around the house and had to devote some time to do that. Sometimes you got to do that, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want to, sometimes you just got
Right.
to do it.
Right.
Well, we got some people watching. Eric Reed's on, Matt Howell's on. Good morning
Hey
to
there,
you
Matt.
too, Matt.
Eric, how you doing, man? Good to see
And
you guys.
Tom Davis. And of course, Ace, he's our avid listener,
Excellent.
watcher, viewer. Um, so let's kick this off, Ken. For those who are watching and don't know who you are, why don't we talk a little bit about who you are?
Sure.
Ken?
I'm Ken King. A lot of people know me as DK from my YouTube channel, Adventures in Dirt. I started my YouTube channel a number of years ago, and I feature not only my own detecting adventures out there, but I also kind of devote a show uh, dedicated to the metal detecting community. It's called The Weekly Dirt, and every week on Sunday, I release a video where I devote it to you, all the detectorists out there, and I show other people's finds and try to keep people up to date as to what's going on out there in the metal detecting community. I'll show little finds. I'll introduce you to some channels, tell you about events going on and giveaways going on. And yeah, that's the Weekly Dirt. I hold that every Sunday. And there's a few other things going on my channel as well. And then I'm also involved in, who would have thought it would be a 53-year-old guy and have all this social media stuff going on, like Twitter and stuff. All my kids are all giving me a bad time about it. Dad, are you on TikTok yet? I was like, yeah, I kind of did. I started a TikTok channel.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but so I got all the other social media going on. If you just search for Adventures in Dirt, you'll be able to find me. But yep,
Absolutely. Um, so I know you've had a few really big announcements on your channel lately, and it's kind of the talk of all of us detectorists in the treasure hunting world right now. Something big happened.
it
You want
sure
to talk
did.
a little bit about?
Right. So Saturday, I get this notice. I get this. I've been involved in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt for about 40 years now, and I got this message Saturday night late that the Forrest Fenn treasure had been found. And so I went on to Dal Neitzel's blog site, which is usually where Forrest will release information when he does release information. And sure enough, there was a message from Forrest Fenn himself saying that the treasure had been found. It was found by a gentleman back east, and that the treasure hunt was over, and that he would get to us with more information in the coming days. And then I talked to my wife. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I talked to my wife, and I said, I need to go live with this. I need to actually do a live stream right now. And I was talking to her, should I, shouldn't I? She goes, yeah, you better go do it. So I actually jumped on a live stream, and yeah, let my viewers and anybody else that cared to watch know that it had been found. And we talked about it for about an hour and a half.
That yeah, I saw it, and as soon as I saw that you put it up there, I was like, okay, if Ken's releasing this has to be legit. I tried searching, but it hadn't even hit the news yet,
Yeah.
and I was pretty excited, and I couldn't believe it that the hunt was over. I
Yeah.
know I know that you've had some personal experience out there actually looking for the treasure.
Yeah, yeah, I've been searching for it, like I said, for about 4 years, and I did my first boots on the ground trip to actually go look for it in 2017, and took my wife and my stepson out there. There's actually a video about that trip, showing my find and showing our trip and showing our adventure out there on my YouTube channel. You got to go way back though; it's one of my first videos I put out, and yeah, we actually went out that day, and since then I've done about 4 or 5 other trips, but I haven't filmed them. But yeah, you just, as a searcher, you try to uh, decipher the poem. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Forrest Fenn wrote a poem, and in the poem there are 9 clues, and if you follow the 9 clues, you find the treasure chest. That's the gist of it. And I was so sure that I had that solved and figured out. It was Easter Sunday, and I showed it to my wife and my stepson, and they're like, "Yeah, you've got it nailed. That's absolutely where it is. We've got to go." And so we packed up the car and left the family for Easter and went and drove 8 hours north into Wyoming and went on this pretty cool adventure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thrill of the chase, it is, I read it on our show last week about it when we found out that it was found. In the poem itself, what sticks out to you the most that you think was the biggest clue for you to head out to Wyoming?
Yeah, well, I'm a big believer in. I'm a what they call a poem purist. Like, I don't think you need his books at all.
Mhm.
I don't think you need basically almost anything else he said, even though all the things he's said since 10 years ago has it tweaks your head a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'm a big believer in 9 lines and 9 clues, and what that means is that he has come right out and said the first clue is begin it where warm waters halt, and I'm a believer in that. And I believe that when you get down to just take the chest and go in peace, that's all you need to solve the hunt, the chase. So there's 9 lines in those 3 stanzas, and I'm a believer that everything you need are in those 9 lines. So I just for me, so my solutions for these, just to let you know, and those that are watching, has changed over the years tremendously, like craziness. Like, my warm waters halt was not a geothermal location. So it was not a location that had a geothermal body of water, right? But
Okay.
and one of the beliefs that I have about this hunt is that Forrest Fenn wanted this to be over soon.
Mhm.
And I believe in the last 6 months, he said some things to certain people that he knew would get out into the media or into the body and the community of searchers, that I believe it just made me believe he really wanted it found. Um, a searcher was interviewing him and asked him, and he asked her. She said, "Would could I tell you my solve?" And he said, "Go ahead, just tell me where your warm water salt is, because if you don't have that, you have nothing, right?" And she said, "It's at the confluence of this river and this river." And he said, "Oh, have you dipped your toe in it?" And she said, "No." He goes, I've been at that confluence, and I can tell you that water is not warm." So,
Okay.
and he knew that this person would is she's a big in the community. She has a YouTube channel. She does a little live stream, and he knew that would get out. And he's not a dumb guy. I think that he and so that changed a lot of people's solves over to it had to be a geothermal body of water. It had to be actually warm water,
Right.
instead of a anagram, some kind of symbolism for warm waters. Like me, I used to believe warm waters halt is where calm water turned into rapids, because of some things he had said in the past. And a lot of things in the poem for me had a lot to do with water, had a lot to do with rafting. Like, he had some rafting terms in there, and he had a lot of things to do with rivers and water. So I knew it had to do had to explain itself to be around a body of water, a river, or something like that. And and so a lot of my solves were had involved rapids, had involved put-ins, had involved different things wrapped around that. And then there's a lot of directional information in those 9 lines about how far to go. Too far but not too far to walk, not too far but too far to walk. Up, no paddle up your creek. That kind of stuff were directional. And I'd always worked backwards. So I'd always pictured Forrest Fenn. Now, Forrest Fenn always said that he had this location where he wanted to hide his chest picked out, because it was the place he wanted to go lay down and die. So he had this place picked out. I don't believe he had the 10-inch by 10-inch location picked out up to where
Right.
he was actually going to put the box and hide the box. But I think he had the general location picked out. So at some point, he had to be at that location and figure out how he was going to hide this box, whether he was going to stack rocks around it, or he searched around and found a little alcove underneath some rocks, or in some, in a culvert, or in a dead tree log or something. Um, that I think that came later, but he had to have that to come up with the blaze. And the
Yeah.
blaze to me, I believe, is something he left behind, or that he marked, or that he made some kind of notification, or maybe he saw it and then picked that location to be able to hide the chest as the marker for look quickly down your quest to cease. And then he worked his poem backwards. There's definitely begin at where warm waters halt, And then you get to the part where he said he parked his car, which is too far, but not too far to walk, below the Homer Brown. And then from there, it's no place for the meek. So from there, in my opinion, is where he parked his car. From there, you get out of your car, and from there, it's no place for the meek. You're getting close. The end is ever
Right.
drawing nigh, right? There'll be no paddle up your creek. So from there, I think it's hints about directional, which way you got to go after you park your car. So he said he parked his car and took 2 trips in to the place where he hit it to because it was heavy, too heavy for him to carry. And so all those things just lead you to try to solve it, and compare your solve against it. But
Right.
I always try to figure, like, where am I going to, Carolyn, if you had this 10-inch by 10-inch box and you decide that you're going to put it there underneath those pile of rocks, or I'm going to put some rocks around it underneath this little alcove of this rocky mountainside, and I'm going to leave it there. Now I got to look around as to what else is going to be a clue that leads them to this 10-inch by 10-inch box. And,
Right.
and if he either created a blaze, or if he located a blaze or something that looked like a blaze, that he could say, well, find that blaze, discoloration in the rocks or something, and then work your way back. Okay, now I made it back to the car. Okay, well, I came down creek for that, or I came down this dry creek bed. Okay, no paddle up your creek. And then, I got to work my way back to where warm waters halt. It's just, it's been really interesting. And you can see by the way I just talk about it, how messed up it can make you, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
You
can,
can
because you start thinking about everything, but, I mean,
go
that's a
down a
great
rabbit hole.
take, going
Yeah.
backwards with the poem.
Yeah.
You can tell that you've put a lot of thought into it, and you really tried to find it.
Yeah, I did. I was up mostly in Colorado. I was up near Leadville. I can say now, right? I can to let things out because I do believe it's been found.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, up near Leadville, up in Glenwood Springs, Aspen area, those kind of areas is basically where I was searching the most.
Do you think when, it comes out where it was found that you were close? Do you really
Mm.
think you were pretty close, or you have
Have
no idea?
Yeah, have no idea. So we don't even know what state it was found in. It could have been found in Montana. A lot of people thought Yosemite. Matt Howell in the chat right there. He used to work in Yosemite a lot, and him and I have talked a lot about Yosemite. But
Mhm.
I'd never focused on that. I focused on Wyoming, and I focused on Colorado. I never focused on New Mexico. I never focused on Montana. It was just something that I didn't do.
Okay.
And I never focused on Yosemite. So yeah, you can get crazy with it. It can be crazy, but I do think something will come out in the next few days. I think he will release some information. I think he owes it to us, Carolyn.
Right.
I think he owes it to the searching community. There's been 30, 40,000, maybe even 100,000 people out there over the years looking for this thing. Unfortunately, some people have died looking for this. Multiple
Yeah.
people had to be rescued, and people have been injured looking for this thing. I think he owes it to all those people to at least say what state it was in, and maybe release the solve of the poem. If the
Yes.
finder doesn't want to be revealed, that's absolutely understandable. There might be legal issues going on,
Yep.
IRS issues going on. So maybe he doesn't want to be revealed, and we're all okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, in just a moment, I'm going to let something out about the finder,
Mm,
something that Kellyco's going to do. But
awesome.
so everybody stay tuned, because we're going to have a big announcement in just a moment. Um, but Ken, do you think? I mean, there is some controversy about it. I know that came out after the treasure was found. Some people are doubting there even was a treasure. I believe there was a treasure. I know you believe there was a treasure, but there are people who think that there was nothing ever there.
Yeah. An awful lot of people, actually. So I knew there was some people that believed that it was a hoax, that it was never real, that he had tricked us all before this announcement that the treasure's been found. But since I've come out so early with the video on it, one of the first people out with a video on it, and I've done a follow-up video since then, and I've got one more coming out, by the way. Actually, I got two more coming out, by the way. So stay tuned for that. But if you go and you read the comments of my videos, a lot of people are coming out now just saying you know what, especially because he didn't release any information right off the bat. That's even
Right.
sparked more people to come out and say it was never there. He just did it to sell books, and he just did it to, get people out into the outdoors, and it's been a hoax. He just did it for his legacy and for the publicity and everything like that. And I don't believe that, but a lot of people do.
Mhm. Yep. Well, I mean, thrill of the chase, I mean, that's really what it is. I think that's what we all are out doing. Every time we go out, it's the thrill of the hunt. We never know what we're going to end up finding when we're out detecting. And it's just that thrill that gets us out there. And here at Kellyco, we have a motto and it's called Treasure Awaits. And you could take that however you want it to be. It could be the diamond ring that you're going to pull on the beach, the US belt buckle that you're going to find at a Civil War camp, or it could be the friends that you're going to make in while you're out detecting. So Treasure Awaits is something that we hold close to our hearts here at Kellyco. And but the thrill of the chase, everybody wants to know, and we want to know: was this found? Who found it? Where did you find it?
Yeah.
So Kellyco has decided that they want an exclusive interview with the person who found the treasure. Um, and what we're going to do is, if we could get that, we'll do it all anonymously, protect who you are and everything. But Kellyco just released a press release this morning, and we are willing to give a $10,000 reward for
Wow.
an interview with the finder of Fenn's treasure.
Wow.
So I think that'll be big. I think we're going to get a lot of people coming forward. I know you've had some people already come to you,
That's right. Well, I gotta
and
let you
tell
know
us.
something. I actually found it. Ding,
You
ding,
found
ding.
it. Ding, ding, ding. Cut the check
No,
right over to Ken.
no, but yeah, right. But I have had about 14 people right now contact me, both privately and publicly, via comments and also public messenger or private messenger, saying, "Hey, man, I'm the one that found it. Here's my video. Here's kind of my solution." And none of them have proof that they found it. They all have legitimate search solves.
Yep.
Some of them are a little out there, but yeah, about 14 so far have contacted me, and I'm sure there's more out there. There's the lady in Chicago, right, that is
Yes.
suing Forrest Fenn, saying that she had the solve and somebody hacked her computer, and so she wants a judge to order the finder to give her the chest because she's so sure that her solve was correct, and this guy must have hacked her computer. I mean, so you're getting a lot of people coming out of the woodwork.
Yes.
But if you're offering that $10,000 reward for people that can just hook you up with the exclusive interview, then everyone on the East Coast, make sure you're paying attention to that,
Yeah.
because Forrest Fenn said the man was from back east. We don't know exactly what that means. Back east could be, in his mind, the UK. Who knows? But
Right.
I'm pretty sure that it means somebody back from like Pennsylvania, New York area, from that back east, from New Mexico, from where he lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, for anybody back in that area, yeah,
Keep your
pay
ears
attention.
open.
Keep your ears open. That's right.
Definitely. And this is going to be this offer is good for 6 months. It will expire on December 8th, 2020. Um, all the details, Mark dropped the link for it, but we really want to find out. And I'm sure everybody in the community, they want to hear the story. They want to
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
who found it. I mean, it's kind of sad that that the chase is over. So the next
It
one
is.
is
It is.
who's going to do something else like this?
Yeah.
What's the next chase going to
Yeah.
be?
Well, people have already been putting other treasure hunts together. Like there's a guy in the community that he said, I'm going to put all kinds of different trinkets into a chest, and we're going to do another one. And you guys send me all the trinkets you want to send it to this address, and I'll throw it in the box. And there's, different bills in there and plastic, plastic seal and all kinds of different things. And he's just going to go out and hide it and create his own treasure chest. I know that there's a couple others that kind of do that already with these special little searcher coins. They'll go out and hide these searcher coins. And, even our treasure hunting club here in Denver, Colorado, the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club, um, there's a guy in the club that does like a treasure hunt. He puts a little token somewhere and he starts releasing clues one at a time every
Yep.
week or so. And it builds and it builds and it builds. And there's photo clues. Sometimes there's textual clues, and it's a lot of fun. My buddy Tony and I go out. And we look for that all the time. So it's always fun. The treasure hunting is a lot of fun. So
Absolutely.
we'll see what happens. And Forrest also has buried those bell jars. He makes these bell jars out of bronze that he's put his biography in and trinkets, but there's no clues to it or anything like that. He's hidden about 12 of them so far. He won't say where they're at. He won't give you any clues about it. He just said they're about 2 feet down, so most detectors aren't going to hit them.
Right.
He said organically they're going to be found someday, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, who knows? But then they'll find out about his legacy. So I know his legacy was always really big to him,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I still believe the treasure chest was real. I believe the hunt was real.
I do
Uh,
too.
yeah, him and his family really gone through a lot of hassle, and especially with people dying and being, trying to be
Yeah.
uh, forced to close it and end it and stuff. And I just don't think that he would keep it going for another sale of another $12 book. He's got enough
Yeah.
money. He's got enough money. I just don't think he would have put himself through that. So
I don't either. But I definitely am excited to see, and hopefully somebody will come forward. I mean, I'd love to see the actual chest, everything in there, the location that it was at. I mean, if
yeah.
it was me out there and I dug it up, I said it before that somebody would have to call a stretcher because I'd probably have a heart attack that I found it because it would be so surreal to actually find the treasure.
Yeah, it would be amazing story though. I mean, good luck to you guys. I hope that you end up getting the exclusive story. And if I hear anything, we'll be in touch. And I don't know if the guy's a watcher of my stuff on out there on social media and YouTube or not. But if you're out there and you happen to be watching this one, get a hold of me and we'll make it work. You'd stay anonymous and we'll work that through Kellyco, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely,
Mhm. Yeah.
absolutely. So I wonder what's gonna be next with the whole thing. I wonder, like you said, there's so many different treasures out there that people are doing. We've done things similar in our club where we have the old president. You'd go looking for gold coins, and we'd get little hints here and there, and it was so much fun to do it.
Yeah.
I remember one of the clues was between board games and chicken, and it no, between board games and churches, and what it was the Checkers restaurant and Church's chicken.
Yeah.
So, it was really cool, like, where everybody was trying to figure it out, and then we realized that it was the board game was checkers. Um,
Yeah.
so it was a really fun hunt to go out there and try to find that, and all we got was a gold coin, but there are a lot of us out there.
On the last hunt, my buddy Tony and I did with our treasure hunting club in Denver, we went out looking for it. And we found the park, and we hadn't heard that anybody else had even found the park yet. That he had buried this little token. He buried this little golden, plated token, and he had photo clues pointing in certain directions. He put his little digging knife down, pointing in directions and stuff. And so we found the area where he had placed his knife and found the direction it was, and we little cabana area, and we went over there, and so we just started hitting all around the cabana area, and all of a sudden our detectors just started going nuts, right?
Mhm.
So we found a field of about probably 4 feet by 4 feet that was littered with quarters,
Wow.
modern clad quarters, about every 2 inches. So somebody
Wow.
had inserted the knife and tucked a quarter, inserted a knife, tucked a quarter, inserted a knife and tucked a quarter. And
Wow.
our we were it was just going nuts. So we started uncovering all these quarters, and we're just like, okay, did he do this to throw the searchers off? Did he do this? So we ended up seeing him at the next meeting. We're like, hey man, how you doing? Hey, nice quarter field you got there, because the token wasn't there. The token wasn't there. We had cleared all the quarters. I think it was like 20 something dollars in quarters. We
Wow.
cleared all the quarters. We're like, nice quarter field, and he didn't know what we were talking about. And I believe him now because I've grilled him. I've grilled him. He didn't put those there. So that means another searcher that was looking for this thing, that went there and searched all around and couldn't find it, decided he was going to throw off all first future searchers by burying all these quarters in there. And we
Oh,
to
that's
this day we don't
awesome.
know which member in the club actually did that. But how funny is that? Just
That's
throw
pretty
throw
funny.
everyone else off.
Yep.
We
Yep.
spent an hour there digging all those quarters out.
I'd rather be digging those quarters than pennies, though, so at least
Yeah,
they use quarters,
that's true.
so
We went and got lunch. That was great.
that's awesome.
Yeah. But there's other treasure hunts out there, Carolyn. There's tons of other active treasure hunts out there. There's even treasure legends out there you can get involved in. You were mentioning the Lost Dutchman mine. I was
Yeah.
mentioning the Cave of Gold, the Caverna del Oro here in Colorado. But there's tons of them, between stagecoaches that were robbed, and the loot
Mhm.
was stashed between all these different gangs from the old Wild West here in Colorado. There's just a lot you can get involved in.
Absolutely. And being involved in one of those big hunts, even if you don't find it, knowing that you took part and you gave it your all and you were out there. Now, what would really be bad is at the very end when it is found, you find out, like you said earlier, you went left instead of right and you missed
Yeah,
it just by a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. See, Forrest always said with his treasure hunt, right, that he personally knows that some searchers have been within 200 feet of the chest because of
Wow.
the solve that they've sent him, but they've gone too far. They went too far. They walked right past it.
Wow.
So how would you how and I have sent him some of my solves. So
Mhm.
how would you feel if would you want to know, or would you not want to know if you were one of the searchers within 200 feet of the chest?
Actually, what happened to me, on our little treasure hunt one, there was me and another detectorist ended up at the park at the same time, and I was right where it was, and somebody called me, my mom was with me, she called me over for something, so I walked over to talk to her and didn't go back to the area. He headed right there. He found it right where I was at. I was like, "Man, I was so close." But it
Yeah, that's
happens,
crazy. It
definitely does.
happens when you're detecting too, right? You're out there, you're searching, you go over an area, and then your buddy comes behind you with a different detector, or at a different angle, right? Or going a
Yep.
different direction, and finds something that you just passed over. You know, we do that a lot. Like, I'll do it to them, they'll do it to me. So it goes back and forth. We're just like, oh man, you walked right over this. Matter of fact, in England, I had an opportunity to go to England last year.
Mhm.
Amazing dream trip of mine.
I think
And
that's everyone's.
yeah, and we were in a field that had gold Celtic coins, gold
Mhm.
stater coins, and one of the guys found one, and then this other guy found one, and when he found it, it was inside of a boot print in the mud,
Oh,
a
wow.
fresh boot print. So one of us had walked right over it and either swung too wide with our stride, or
Yep,
and didn't catch it, and
yep.
he found it right in the boot print.
Wow.
And he quickly destroyed the boot print because none of us wanted to know whose boot print it was.
Yeah.
We didn't want to match it up and see whose boot print it was. So he
Yep,
quickly destroyed it. So, but yeah, amazing gold Celtic stater coin, just crazy.
that's amazing. I wanna
Yeah.
find a gold coin so bad. One day
Yeah.
it'll happen. It will.
There's been a lot being found out there. I'll tell you, on my weekly dirt show, I've been featuring quite few of them lately, just
I
being
did see
found all
that.
over the place here in the United States, also over in England. Just a
Yep.
ton of gold coins being found, even over on the old Spanish trails over in California. The guy found two of them out there on the Spanish Trail. Amazing finds.
Absolutely. One day I'll find it.
What will you
Wanna
do?
like I said, you'll probably have to call a paramedic. I'll be like, "Ah!" Or I'll do the manatee crawl.
Right. That's what I love capturing, though. I love
Oh,
capturing people's reaction to that, to that excitement. It's funny.
yeah.
You can see their hands shaking, you know what I mean? And you
Yep.
totally understand it. You're like, absolutely.
I
That's
remember
what's
when I
fun.
found, my first seated dime. I pulled it out and I saw the back that said 1 dime, and I just thought it was a dime, and then I flipped it over and realized that it was this 1877 seated, and I don't know how, but I ended up about 20 feet away from the hole in less than 5 seconds. I kinda just did this roll thing and was like, "Oh my gosh," and they got it all on video. It was so funny. So we just thought it was a barber dime, but that excitement was real,
Right.
absolutely real.
Yeah,
So
there's been some great excitement out of people finding GW buttons. You know what I mean? Like, there's
oh,
been some
yeah.
great reactions. Uh, I can just think back, and so I watch so many videos, and I capture so many videos of other people's channels and what they're putting out. That yeah, some GW button finds have just been absolutely great,
Yep,
which I can
yep,
understand.
absolutely, that's another really good find,
Yeah.
but,
So those
um
one dimes are exciting, right? You see that one dime on the back, and it's either going to be seated or a barber. You got to flip it over to find out, and it's
absolutely.
a fun little game people do.
I had no idea. I mean, I didn't even expect seated, I just thought it was a Barbara, and I was happy, and then, whoa, it blew especially because it was the same year that the house was built, which was really cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
So, yeah, I like that. but
W-
um, it's about
so what?
time. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say what's some things on your bucket list?
Number one, I mean, down here in Florida, we've got some Civil War activity, not a lot. I'd like to find a plate. That's number one. Definitely a real or a Spanish coin. Um, that's number 2. And
Yeah.
then my third one, it's not your typical find, it's a time capsule. I'd love to find somebody's time capsule that they buried. I just think that
Right.
would be cool for the sentimental value and see what does somebody put in this capsule that was important to them at the time.
Right.
So
Right.
those are my top 3 that I would
Right.
love to find.
And I have to apologize to people. I'm just now able to see the chat room. I didn't have the window open to watch the stream, so I wanted to say hello to Mark and a lot of people that are popping in and saying hello to me. Sorry I didn't get a chance to see you in there. I do have it open now, so I just do want to apologize. Mark Duncan, good to see you. Just wanted to pop in and say that I could see it now. Sorry about that. I guess a lot of people have been coming in saying hello, but
Yes, a lot of people have been saying hi to
yeah.
us. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see when uh, Forrest is going to put out another update. I'm excited to see if somebody's going to come forward now that we got this reward out.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just excited to see what's to come of it. It doesn't feel like to me like it's over just yet. I think
Right.
there's going to be more going on with this.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced too that Forrest will come out with additional information here in the next couple of days. You know, I was hoping this weekend because Forrest usually releases information on the weekend. If he is going to
Mhm.
release information, like notebooks and stuff that he's put on Dal's site, a lot of times he'll release them on the weekend. So I was really watching closely this weekend, and he didn't. So there might be a lot of stuff going on. There might be a lot of legal stuff that none of us realize going on. There might be issues with the land in which he found it,
Yep.
whatever that. Now, I know Forrest did a lot of investigating and consulting with attorneys before he found it. He'd come out in interviews and said, look, I consulted with many attorneys about many things before I hid this chest. So I think he covered his bases, but you never know. He probably couldn't cover all his bases, and you just
Right.
don't know the implications of everything. I mean, we might not all be thinking about everything that might be going on. So he may be.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he'll come out with something, and that will be the next big, exciting news to come out is when he does finally release it. I don't know if the finder's ever going to come forward. I just don't know that. Be great if he did. It'd be great if someone was able to hook up an interview for you guys there at Kellyco. That would be awesome. And
Yeah.
jump in on that $10,000 reward. That's absolutely great. I saw that Mark post the link in there in the chat room
Yep.
for those of you. Yeah. So uh, I hope so. I hope that happens. But more than that, I just hope that, and I think Forrest owes us as searchers, as the searching treasure hunting community, to release the solve of the poem.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so we can all figure out how close we were, figure out how his mind works with creating that poem, and how close our thoughts were in solving that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
everybody wants that peace of mind just to know, where was
Yeah.
it? How close was I? How close was my friend that was looking for it?
Exactly.
Everybody definitely wants that.
Yeah. Well, I think it will. I think we'll have that soon. Hopefully in the next
Absolutely.
couple of days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, it's been wonderful speaking to you this morning.
Yeah.
It's about time for us to wrap the show up, but
Great.
we're going to do something a little different. We usually ask for advice for beginner
Hmm.
hunters, but do you have any advice for somebody who's out there chasing a story or chasing a myth or chasing a big treasure hunt? What's your best advice that you could give somebody out?
Right. Yeah. Go look up Occam's razor and check that out, and do a search for Occam's razor, and just think the farther out you need to go to make explanation to back up your evidence is probably not going to be the right path you should be taking. So I say keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep your solutions simple. Think about the facts you have, and try not to let your mind invent cloudiness, and get your explanations further away from what is simple. So always try to bring it back to the simple. That's my advice.
Awesome advice. And one more
Yeah.
thing, Ken, if anybody wants to reach out to you, they want to find you, what's the best way for them to find you on YouTube,
Yeah.
Facebook? What's the best way for them to find you?
All that stuff, you do any search, and I don't care what social media you're on, you do a search for Adventures in Dirt, you'll be able to find me. YouTube channel, Adventures in Dirt, Facebook group, Facebook page, Adventures in Group, all that stuff, Twitter, Instagram. So you can find me out there if you want to get a hold of me. And all those have ways of reaching out to me privately if you need to send me a message. So I invite you to do that. I invite you to take a look. And if you like what I'm doing on my channel, become a sub, hit that like button and all that good stuff. But other than that, leave me comments. Let me know what you're thinking of the channel and give me some advice on where you think things should go. That's
All
awesome.
right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ken. It was a great show today. And until Wednesday, we have Chuck Smalley's going to be on with us.
Oh, cool.
So everybody have a great day, a happy Monday. And thank you again, Ken. And you have
Carolyn,
a
thanks for
wonderful day.
inviting me on. I
Oh, you're
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.